To recap, firstly, get engagement and create a relationship with your audience through your indoctrination campaign. Secondly, after your indoctrination campaign, engage on a daily basis with your prospects, leveraging talk radio email. It's the same thing as daily Seinfeld emails. Third, stop leading with so much how-to content and start focusing on building a bond with your audience through the power of story and through providing irresistible entertainment. And four, sell your products and services every single day, all right? Yes, sell your products and services every single day. When you don't sell your products and services, you aren't open for business. That's how I focus on my email marketing. That's how I look at my email marketing. And that's what's allowed me to send emails that have made me as much as $20,000 per send, right? Again, it comes with consistency, but at the end of the day, if you do this for long enough, it becomes second nature. You're always finding stories. You're always able to go ahead and pull something up, and you're always able to entertain for just a few minutes. Now, the good news for you guys is that whenever you bring a lead into our system, they go first through our 5-part indoctrination campaign, and then they get sent our daily Seinfeld emails every single day. So those leads you bring through our system, they're getting sent those emails that I just talked about. They're bending their head sideways when they see the subject line, and then they're opening and clicking, and they're buying while we do 95% of all of the work for you. All right, number 2, live and automated webinars. Now, why webinars? I touched on this earlier, but to recap, they allow you to create bigger paydays, selling products from $297 up to $997. That's kind of the sweet spot. Selling in an intimate fashion that's still one-to-many. So you're selling to 300 people, but it's still personal. They allow you to leverage bonuses more effectively as an affiliate using real scarcity. So these bonuses disappear forever at the very end of this webinar. That gets people off the fence. They build the Goodwill bank with your list and position you as a leader in the authority while making sales, of course, if done correctly. So again, the Goodwill bank, we touched on it in the workshop, I believe. But whenever you sell to your audience and to your list, the Goodwill bank comes down a little bit. And whenever you provide value, the Goodwill bank comes up a little bit, right? So you're always trying to kind of play this game where how often have I sold? I've been selling a lot lately. Do I need to provide more value with just content and stories to build it back up? Or can I keep selling? Webinars allow you to do both at the same time. It allows you to make a massive amount of sales while going ahead and building the Goodwill bank. And they increase your brand and influence in the marketplace while making sales. So as I touched on yesterday, the people in here that are hosting webinars are the top earners and the 7-figure earners. Why? Because just hosting webinars themselves go ahead and position you as the leader in the authority, and in doing so, your list becomes that much more responsive moving forward. So as you send your daily Seinfeld emails, if you're hosting webinars, people are going to look up to you and perceive you as the authority, and based on that fact, they're going to continue opening your daily Seinfeld emails moving forward down the road. Does that make sense? All right, so your goals in hosting a webinar is firstly to provide value and build the Goodwill bank. Secondly, make sales in an intimate fashion that's still one-to-many. And lastly, it builds a strong relationship with your list and position yourself as the leader and the authority from day number 1. So who wants to learn my simple 5-step formula? Yeah, you sure? This is the same formula that allowed me to create a $100,000 evening, again, in just about 90 minutes. No income guaranteed, tattooed on my forehead, see our income disclosure. You probably won't do anything, so you probably won't make anything. I got to say it for legal purposes. Joking. All right, so the simple 5-step formula. Firstly, the big promise. Secondly, the stick strategy. Third, the bond. Fourth, the content. And fifth, the offer and the close. Everybody get a photo? All right, so let's blast through these pretty quickly. So the first thing I'm doing when someone goes ahead and hops on my webinar is I'm illustrating the big promise for going ahead and attending through until the very end, all right? So why should people be excited to actually be on your webinar? What's the most scarce commodity in the marketplace? I want to see if you're paying attention. That's what you all said in the workshop. I told you the right answer. Come on now. What's the most scarce commodity in the marketplace? Attention. There we go, right? So why should people give you their attention? What's the big benefit for them in going ahead and giving you their scarcest commodity? And that's what you're trying to do with your first couple of slides within your webinar. So I'm always illustrating, you're going to learn the simple 3-step formula that I use to generate upwards of 750 leads per day without the tech overwhelm. Be sure to stick around until the very end because you'll learn the exact strategy. The big promise, right? Secondly, the stick strategy. So again, just because people are on your webinar doesn't mean that people are going to stay on your webinar. Attention is the most scarce commodity. So why should they stay on your webinar? This is where I'm usually trying to tell people how my webinar is going to be different. I'm telling people what they're going to learn. I'm getting them excited about the different topics we're going to cover. I'm creating excitement around the potential benefit of them going ahead and learning what I'm about to teach. And I'm really just getting them fired up to stay on the webinar. So just like within your overall marketing, how you're always selling the next step of your overall sales process, on a webinar, you're always selling the next step of the actual webinar, right? So your stick strategy, once again, you just clearly want to let them know what's in it for them if they stay around until the very end. So sometimes you guys will see me give away free gifts, free bonuses. If you stay around until the very end, you'll see me tell them why it's the perfect time for them to learn those strategies, why these strategies are different. All of those different tactics, I'm trying to get them to stay on the webinar until the very end. Does that make sense? Yeah. Awesome. All right. Third, the bond. Who do people buy from? Trust, all right? They buy from people they know, like, and trust. Why should they trust you? What was that? Because you're the bomb. I hate to break it to you, but they don't care. So what creates trust more quickly than anything else? I heard it. Story, all right? When people can see that at one point in time you were just like them and you've dealt with the same issues that they're currently dealing with and you've walked a mile in their shoes and you truly understand what it's like to be like them, that's how you can build trust. And how you can build trust and authority in the same time is to then share with them that at one point you were just like them, but now you're where they want to be, all right? So who here has, seen me tell my story and I talk about being at the low of the low, creating my breakthrough, and now life is good, right? I'm creating relatability, identification, sharing the breakthrough, and then I'm building authority. So there's always a section of my webinar where I talk about my story. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm building trust and I'm building a bond with my audience, because if they don't have a bond with you, no matter how good the offer is, they're not going to go in and purchase, right? Because people buy from people they know, like, and trust, and people buy from people who are positioned as the authority. From there, we get into step 4, the content. Now, the biggest mistake I see most people make when it comes to content is they say, God, I'm just going to bring so much value on this webinar that I'm going to teach so many different things that they're just going to be compelled to buy because I help them so much. They're just going to be, they're going to want to reciprocate so much and so strongly because I'm going to provide so much goodwill. And based on that goodwill, they're just going to pull out their credit card and throw it at me through their computer. It really doesn't work that way, all right? So usually, I think Terry touched on it earlier. You know how Terry said, it was funny, Terry said, I think, show the result, show the result, show the result, show the result, tell them you don't know how it works, then offer it, and then offer scarcity, right? There's no content in that formula. Now, I've never followed that to an exact T, but again, I'm very cognizant and I'm very aware of not over-teaching on my webinars. Because when you over-teach, what do you think happens? Confusion. You create confusion and overwhelm. And what do you think happens when you create confusion and overwhelm? People don't believe that they can do it. And then when people don't believe that they can do it, what happens? They don't buy. So you have to look at it in a sequential manner, all right? First, you need to sell them that this way is the best way. Secondly, you need to show them that they can actually do it this way. And then lastly, you need to show them that your product is the best way for them to do it. So for an example, with the solo ad success formula as an example, at the beginning of the webinar, I'm trying to tell them that solo ads are the best way, while of course building a relationship, building a bond. Next, I'm showing them that with solo ads, I'm showing them that they can actually use solo ads, they can do it, right? It's not impossible, it's not super complicated, and if you commit to it, you can actually do it. And then lastly, once they've already agreed that solo ads are the way and that they can do it, I'm showing them that the solo ad success formula is the fastest path for them to go ahead and take in order to do that. If they don't agree that they can do it, and if they don't agree that it's the right way, do you think they'll buy? No. So again, what I'm focusing on is teaching in a way that shows them how I can help them whether or not they buy, while not over teaching. And usually how I do it is I condense it to 3 secrets, right? So when you get on a webinar, it's the 17 secrets to creating your breakthrough online. Conversions probably aren't going to be that good. But if you keep it to just about 3 secrets, the 3 secrets to effectively using solo ads, the 3 secrets to Facebook Lives, the 3 secrets to hosting webinars that sell, you're going to keep yourself from presenting too much content, and as a result, you're going to keep the levels of overwhelm down. When you do, again, people believe that they can do it, and as a result, they go ahead and buy. Does that make sense? It's a little bit more complicated and a little bit more high level, but does that make sense back there? Yeah? Awesome.